Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Anna and you're watching Odom 2.0. For how much longer, I'm not sure. I am in the works with my studio, and as soon as it is all done and I have a little bit more of, you know, a brand and stuff, you'll definitely see a revamped, changed channel. So I am super excited for that. In the meantime, I'd like to get straight into the topic of the day. I have tried to do this video once again a lot, and I keep running over my time by a lot. So, today I just kind of want to address the people who still hate our president and still think he's racist, still think he hates women, still thinks he does not have the country's best interest at heart. I just want to kind of run down the list with you a little bit and see if maybe we can find some common ground. It just seems that the political talk has been just very intense, very my side or yours. And I think if a lot of us just really sit down and try to have a mature conversation about the issue, we'll find that we have a lot more in common than you think. And even some of you who are still very, very left-leaning, I think we could even still find some common ground too. So, you can't hate somebody 100%. Hitler, sure. Maybe even a creepy porn lawyer and a scumbag Hollywood producer. But there's always an exception to the rule. But the majority rule would state that when you meet somebody, there's going to be things you like, things you don't like, things you can tolerate, some things you can't. And our president is no different. There's going to be things that people don't like, especially if you are not in the same party or don't have the same beliefs. Then there's even more animosity and differences. However, with this particular president and all of the things he's done in the last 21 months, I have to say, anybody who's still 100% just hates this man, we need to have a little bit of a talk, I think. Because the people I know, okay, at least the people I know, don't want to be hateful, don't like harboring negative, hateful feelings. But, you know, sometimes certain people do bring that out in you. And for a lot of people, it's Trump. But then they blame Trump for that, which I don't understand. Like Whoopi Goldberg went on some really weird tangent a couple weeks ago on The View and blamed Trump for that. She needs to get her head examined. But anyway, so my point is I think we have a very active president. He's done a lot of things, and I'm sure a lot of those things that you can find grievance with. But for the most part, I think a lot of the things that he's done has been on a bipartisan level. Like a lot of the things that he's dealt with are things that I think he believes most people should be in agreement with. Namely, one on a more global scale would be the whole North Korea summit and denuclearizing the Korean Peninsula. I think that's definitely a good thing, right? Why are we not happy about this? Even if everything else about Trump you hate, you can't acknowledge talks with Korea are good? Like, I don't understand that. The fact that our economy is booming, unemployment is so low, there are more jobs than people to fill them. That's a beautiful thing, right? How can we not be happy about that? I know some of you still like to give Obama the credit. I really don't see how. I've always been a firm believer in sometimes some of the things that our officials do, it takes a while for us to start to see the benefit of it. However, even though former President Obama might have done some things that kind of set the foundation or at least laid the path for these things to improve, it was the things that President Trump did that really moved it in the direction it needed to. So I'm sorry. If you want to give President Obama credit, by all means, give him credit. But you can't give him all the credit. You still have to give credit to our president for the decisions he made that allowed for the economy to grow the way that it did. More businesses have thrived. More new businesses have been born. More women and minorities have been able to start businesses. That's not good. You can't acknowledge that that's good because Trump did it? Kind of seems a little kindergartenish in my mind, but you know, hey, who am I? What do I know, right? So, you already have a great booming economy, low unemployment. We've got, you know, good talks with Korea. What else has happened? So much stuff has actually been so good for this country, and I'm just, hello, prison reform. Our president is not only working on prison reform, but rehabilitation, making it easier for people when they get out of prison to be able to live and to provide for themselves and their families. That's not good either. It's tougher on our borders. He didn't put any new laws in place. He just simply started actually enforcing the ones that are already in place. For security for this country. That's not a good thing. And do not even come at me about separating children from their parents. 90,000 children were separated from their parents under the Obama administration, and none of you had a fucking thing to say about it. Furthermore, I'd like to know how many of you have personally witnessed an ICE facility holding children and adults. They're living better than we are, just so you know. Do I think that's a bad thing? I'm not going to say that's a bad thing, because I think if we're going to host people in this country for whatever reason, we need to be good hosts. You know what I'm saying? Take the higher ground. Give people accommodations. I don't know how many of you watched Candace Owens' video of visiting the Broward County ICE facility, but they're living pretty good there. Phones until 11 o'clock at night. A library open from like 8 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. A volleyball court. A soccer field. Bedrooms bigger than college dorms. Fresh sheets and blankets. Pool tables. I mean, these people are being very, very, very well taken care of. And all you can hear is facility and think prison, I guess, in cages. But that was Obama's administration that decided everybody needed to go in cages. All those pictures were dated and clearly labeled 2014. So again, don't come at me with something that you weren't worried about when Obama was doing it, because that makes you a hypocrite. Alright? So as far as I'm concerned, one of the biggest things our president ran on was border security, and he won. So most of us want border security. Again, the media tries to sell a whole different narrative to blanket over the real issues, which is pulling a bunch of pictures from 2014 and saying President Trump is removing children from their parents for unlimited amounts of time and blah, 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 blah. No. The whole process was to make sure children were actually with their real parents. Do you know how many people showed up to the border with kids that weren't theirs? Do you know how many kids are still sitting in these detention centers because nobody has come to claim them? Okay? So we got to look at the bigger picture, not just the surface of what people want us to see to have a quick opinion about. Really look into the immigration and the borders and how we're treating these people, and you'll find that not only has our president really stepped it up as far as enforcing these laws, but he's really also stepped up in how we're taking care of these people until we figure out what to do with them. Okay? So again, why is that bad? Why can't you say it's good? Because Trump did it. It makes no sense to me to completely just ignore things because you don't like whose name is on it. He's our president. He's our president, okay? This is his job. And if all you're going to do is completely throw him in the dirt every time he does something, the people listening to that are just going to attach themselves to that as the gospel truth. And it's not. And it hurts me because I have people come at me with a certain tone because I defend our president. As if, no, they'll say, I like you. You're not the one I have a beef with. But I'm the one getting the shit in the comments about things that I say or don't say. And truth be told, I can admit when our president is not doing what he needs to be doing. I believe Puerto Rico could definitely be relooked at. I think our president just kind of went on the fact that we did what we were supposed to do. We gave what we needed to give, and that the local government was going to handle it accordingly. There was no follow-through, as far as I'm concerned, on the bigger scale with the Trump administration. And so he has to take some of the blame for that. But where there's blame for our president, there's still just as much blame for the local government in Puerto Rico. They're the ones that were in charge of everything. Sure, we might have given them the resources they needed to fix the country, but if the local establishments aren't doing it, that's really not Trump's fault. Being how many years later, somebody should have alerted our president to the fact that this was still an issue. But again, where does the president's responsibility end and the local government of Puerto Rico start? Same with Flint. I have a lot of people telling me President Trump doesn't care about Flint. What's the local government doing to take care of Flint? Because it's their responsibility. Who are these people voting in to their local governments in Flint? Because it seems to me like the whole shebang of them need to be replaced. Should he be more actively involved? Maybe. Is there a way for him to be actively involved? Maybe. But at the end of the day, whatever he does isn't actually going to be the end-all be-all if the people in charge aren't, you know, enforcing these things and doing what they need to do to help the people of Flint get clean water. So again, if you want to put some blame on Trump, go for it. But you can't just blame Trump and not the local government. It's hand in hand. They both have responsibilities, and obviously neither one of them are doing it. So yes, I can certainly see where there needs to be improvement and where our president needs to be more involved in things. But I also see where he is involved in things and doing things that are really good for this country. Prison reform is good for this country. Prison rehabilitation is good for this country. The coal industry is good for this country. Having that energy again and having those people back to work again is good for those states and those communities. They need that. They've been waiting for that. I'm sure there's still divide on the Dakota pipeline, which is completely understandable for environmental reasons. But again, there had to be a decision that needed to be made. There was plenty of money and work being lost daily because the situation wasn't handled. Even though he didn't handle it the way you would have handled it, he handled it. Isn't that good? Promises made, promises kept seems to be a motto running around, because almost everything that he said he wants to do, he has tried to do. And the things that he hasn't been able to accomplish yet are because of other people blocking and stopping and procrastinating. I think there's like 700 different positions waiting to be filled where he has appointed people. That hasn't even happened yet because the government hasn't gone through with approving these people. So there's a slow moving process happening with a lot of the things he's trying to do, because he's being blocked and he's being fought at every turn. And you Obama supporters should know everything about that, because these are playbooks that each side constantly uses against each other. But even when it was President Obama in office, and I heard all the talks about things that he were doing, and, you know, I heard the word impeachment come up quite a few times during his presidency. Did I take it seriously? Nope. I didn't take it seriously, because until I saw an actual impeachment process happen, it's just gutter rumor to me. And so I hear all these people talk about things that make the president impeachable, but I have not seen not one person in Congress or the House or wherever the hell that shit happens. I have not seen Maxine Waters not once in official capacity ask for an impeachment process. So until there's an actual process that happens, I just don't take that seriously. I go by what's happening and what I see and what is proven. And what I haven't seen proven yet is that our president is racist and that he's bad for our country, and all the decisions he has made for this country have all been bad. No, they haven't. The justices for the Supreme Court, y'all just don't like those nominations or those particular judges because they come with a conservative they have a conservative platform. They are constitutionalists, and I know the left wants the most liberal leaning Supreme Court that they could possibly have. But that's not what we have. And just because it's not your pick doesn't mean the president's pick is a bad pick. Kavanaugh is a wonderful nominee. Gorsuch was a wonderful nominee who is now a Supreme Court justice. These are decisions that need to be made. And people are mad. Oh, he shouldn't be able to make these decisions while he's under investigation. Really? I'm going to let you think about that for a minute. Maybe go back on your history of things that were happening in past presidencies, and the fact that they still were able to nominate Supreme Court justices was not an issue then, but somehow it's an issue now. And I just don't get it. And I'm at least smart enough to understand that this is not an anti-Trump agenda. It is an anti-Republican agenda. I think any Republican president in office right now would be facing the exact same issues with the media, with the left, with everything, because I don't necessarily think that it's a war against Trump. It is a Democrat war against the other side. So all of these things that they did to Trump, they would have easily just done to someone else had they won. It was all planned. It was all orchestrated. Kind of like with the Kavanaugh hearings and all of the protests and all of the yelling and the screaming. All planned. All paid for. It's disgusting, isn't it? But yet all of these things are coming out. That's not a good thing. I think the more transparent our government has to be, the better we all are as a country. You don't find transparency a good thing? I'm just baffled that some people would rather hold on to their hate for the president because they don't like how he feels about kneeling football players. I mean, I feel like that was like the biggest thing the left ran with is, why is our president interjecting his opinion on football? Because he's a football fan. And quite honestly, as a candidate running for president, the media started that when they interjected that question into the campaign. So again, you kind of really have to see both sides of things. And when you look at both sides of things, I think you'll find that in some cases, you will find that you agree with the things that our president has done. And if not, I can only but want to ask you, are you waiting for a socialist Democrat to take over and completely change the course of this country? Because that's kind of the direction the Democrats have been moving in lately. And as far as I'm concerned, you can have socialist programs, but a socialist country, that's not going to work for us, guys. And if you just take one quick look at Venezuela as the most recent example of a failed socialist government, you will find that having anybody on our soil ready to commit to that type of government they're the ones that need to be treated the way y'all are treating Trump right now. Those are the ones that could really hurt this country. And, yeah, just take a look at Canada's socialized medicine. It is a complete disaster, okay? There's just certain things that you just can't socialize in that way without really hurting the people. And it seems the Democrat Party is moving in that direction. And I think that was the direction they were going to move in the whole time, to be quite honest. But Trump kind of came in and screwed up the momentum they would have had Hillary come in and taken over where Obama had left off. And I think that's where a lot of the anger is coming from. And I just think the media has kind of blindsided a lot of Americans with their rhetoric and their propaganda. And fear-mongering and now calls for violence. I mean, people in Trump's administration can barely go to the bathroom without being harassed, thanks to people like Maxine Waters throwing a fit and saying we need to harass and attack anybody in the administration. No, we don't. Okay? We attack at the voter booth. Okay? That's how we do things. Not like you do, Maxine. And people like Nancy Pelosi, who looks like she's drunk half the time defending MS-13 members. I mean, come on. A lot of the stuff coming out of the left, you guys have to admit, is pretty damn ridiculous. And now that it's being called out, you can't help but wonder, am I on the right side? And when I started seeing all the crazy rhetoric coming from the left and started to realize that all of the things I believed in and all of the things that were important to me were the same things that the Republicans believed in, I realized, oh shit, I'm on the wrong side of stuff. How did that happen? It seemed like I was on the right side up until just recently, and it seems like the whole world shifted. Like, I used to love CNN and used to fucking hate Fox News. Now, you find me watching CNN only to see what dumb shit they have to say. Don Lemonhead and Chris Como and, you know, all of those crazy-ass people with their... They showed their colors when Trump called MS-13 animals, and they tried to sell it as he called immigrant animals. See, that's how manipulative and divisive CNN has turned out to be. And I feel like I woke up one day and things had just shifted. And now I seem to watch a lot of Fox News. And even though I still listen and watch left-leaning platforms just to kind of keep a balanced view of things, I'm sorry, the stuff you guys are reporting and the way you guys are acting is lunacy. And I don't want any part of it. And I think any sensible-minded, mature American would agree that temper tantrums and yelling and screaming and harassing and trying to stab people on the other side, that's disgusting and it's gross and it needs to stop. And the only way we're going to be able to stop that is to pull the wind out of its sail. And yeah, I think more people should... You don't have to walk away to the Republican Party. Just walk away from the Democrat Party, because I don't know. It seems to me like they're moving in a direction that is just not safe and is not for our country. And it really is an important time to get out and vote and make sure your voice is heard. And if there's any time that you want your voice heard, and there's any time you want to see America change and be the great country that it can be, we need to keep things red. Sorry, that's just the way it is. I think had the Democrats taken a more mature stand on things and reacted to things a little bit differently, it would be a little bit harder to combat them right now. But the actions of even Democrat politicians, look at the Kavanaugh hearings and look at these Senate hearings when we're trying to vote on things. President Trump tried to get more DACA recipients to be able to benefit from DACA than what the Democrats were even asking for. And all they had to do was fund a wall. And they decided to let DACA die. Okay? So again, you really have to ask what the real agenda is of the left, and if you really want to be a part of that. Because from where I see, the whole party is falling apart. And the fact that the only person that seems to get bad press over anything is our president. And he's, as far as I know, is up for a Nobel Peace Prize for his relations with North Korea. So it just seems like a lot of things went backwards, and not in a good way. And it's time that we wake up and start to realize that the media is the enemy, not Trump, but the media. So that's my rant. It's kind of what I felt like talking about today. Still went to 25 minutes, but that's alright. It's not 30 or 40, so be happy. So tell me what you think. Leave me a like, a dislike, a comment. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and as always, thanks for stopping in and listening to me, and I can't wait until we do it again.